Hey there. So I have something on my mind today that I couldn't not share with you. I just decided to come sit on the floor in my office, set up my phone just to record. I've got my notebook, I've got my water, and we're just gonna chat for a minute because this is something that my mom and I see way too many people doing, and it's absolutely ruining your business. So I kind of like wrote down all my thoughts and all my notes so that I would stay a little more on track and not ramble too much. Because I think if I just like got up here and just like talked, I'd talk to you for like an hour, which probably is a little too long. Um, but this is just like so big, and I just really feel like you need to hear it. If you don't know, I am a competitive horse rider. It's a hobby, definitely not a career, but it's really why I became an entrepreneur in the first place. I grew up riding horses. I love horses, and I saw so many people grow up and graduate and have to give up riding because they didn't have the time or they didn't have the money to keep going, or sometimes both. So really, like, the whole reason why I became an entrepreneur was because I couldn't find a career path that would allow me to continue to go play with horses every week. And so I was like, hey, I'll just make up my own career path. And that was kind of how my entrepreneurial journey started. So today, like every Monday, I have a riding lesson with my horse trainer. And I was there this morning. It's really like my why just like come to life in front of my eyes, because like I get to wake up on a Monday and go do something that I love, and I don't have to go, to a stressful job that I hate. Instead, I get to just wake up and do what I love first thing on a Monday morning, which is seriously the coolest thing. I can't believe it's real life sometimes. But aside from that, I was having my lesson this morning, and my trainer and I were talking about the perception of missed opportunities. Okay, so we talk about this quite a bit in the context of horse training, in terms of saying, like, I wish I knew then what I know now. Like, we look back at horses that we rode 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago and think, oh my gosh, like if I could just have a do-over, right? Because you look back in hindsight and it's so easy to see all the mistakes you made and all the things you could have done better. And it's so clear how much you thought you knew, but you really didn't know back then, right? And I think that's true for all of us. Like, we probably all have something like that in our life where we look back and we're like, oh my gosh, I was an idiot. I had no idea what I was doing. I thought I had this all figured out, and come to find out I knew nothing. And so we talk about that a lot in horse riding. But this morning, my trainer said something along those lines about a particular horse. And for whatever reason, I literally just stopped in the middle of the arena and I said, yeah, but it's because of those mistakes that you're so good at what you do now. And instantly, the second those words left my mouth, I knew you needed to hear this too. Because what my mom and I see in our business, specifically with our clients, over and over and over again, is this fear of messing up and making a mistake. And it's ruining too many businesses. I look back at like when I first started my business. So this was in 2005. And so social media really wasn't around, right? Facebook at the time was only available to college students if you had a .edu email address. YouTube was just barely starting. Instagram didn't exist yet. So we did all of our prospecting through email and sales calls. And I can remember when I got ready to make my very first prospecting call, I was terrified because, I'm still like, I get kind of nervous and awkward around people. I'm not a super friendly, outgoing person because I'm very shy, very introverted. It's not that I'm not friendly. It's just that like I get really awkward and self-conscious talking to people still. And but back then, like big time, right? I was a senior in high school, 18-year-old kid, terrified to pick up that phone. And I was so nervous when I made that very first phone call that I literally like picked up the phone and I said, "Hi, Jordan, this is Vanessa." Like, what the heck? Like, talk about blowing it, right? Like, I was calling this lady named Vanessa, totally screwed it up. Ironically, it was like such an epic screw up that I laughed at myself, like literally laughed out loud and kind of broke the ice. And we ended up having this great conversation, and she ended up enrolling later. Not that day on the phone, but like through subsequent follow-up calls and stuff, she ended up enrolling, which was really cool. So it worked out fine. But like, that's how scared I was. I was so nervous. And I can still, like, when I close my eyes, I can think about back then, like, how terrified, and I mean like massive, massive anxiety I had anytime I had to pick up the phone. But I kept doing it, and I did it over and over and over again. And because I did it over and over and over again, I got really good at it, and I got really confident in it. And it didn't bother me. And today, even though we don't use sales calls very often, we do still use them occasionally for our one-on-one services, which is Premier Club, our Premier Club program, which sells for $15,000, okay? And it's insane to me to look back at the girl who made that very first phone call. Because if you had told her that one day she could pick up the phone and do a sales call for a program that she charges $15,000 for, and that she wouldn't be scared, she wouldn't even think about being nervous, that she would have so much confidence picking up that phone, that girl back in 2005 would have literally laughed in your face, because I could never imagine getting from there to where I am today. And it literally just came from doing it over and over and over again. And the other day I was editing or updating one of our micro offers. We had a micro offer called Facebook Marketing 101, and we wanted to create a brand new offer that's very similar to it, but that also incorporates Instagram and TikTok, because I think if you're using one of those platforms, you ought to be utilizing certain features within all of them today. I won't get into why. I could do a whole video just on why I think that's so important, but I really think that they're all three highly valuable. So we wanted to incorporate those two additional platforms into that program. So I pulled up the very original first ever version of Facebook Marketing 101. So this was a $17 micro offer course that we sold. It was our very first course that my mom and I ever created. And I pull it up, and I was like, oh my God, this is the ugliest slide presentation I have ever seen in my entire life. And I can say that, like, because I'm the one that made it. Like, it's so bad. It's terrible. Like, whatever dimensions, I don't know the exact dimensions that a slide presentation is supposed to be, but whatever those dimensions are, clearly no one had ever told me about that before. It was the wrong dimensions. It was like not even a slide deck shape. And the colors were terrible, and the design was horrible, and half the fonts, like, you couldn't even read them because, yeah, they were scripty and pretty, but like they were unreadable almost. Like, the worst slide presentation I've ever seen in my life. And what's funny, the funniest thing about it is that slide presentation sold so many times that it turned into my mom and I's first six-figure funnel. So, despite it being literally the ugliest slide presentation I've ever seen in my life, it still made us $100,000 more than it ever would have if we'd have just sat there staring at it trying to perfect it, because we didn't know it was bad when we put it out. We were proud of it. Like, I look back and I remember being so dang proud of that thing. Like, we were so proud of it. And so we were doing the best we could with what we knew at the time. And because of that, and because we took that bold action, like, now we can look back at it and laugh at ourselves and be like, oh my gosh, that was terrible. We didn't know anything back then. But at least we didn't know anything. I mean, the content was great, but the actual, like, design of the program was just abysmal, I'm telling you. And so, like, you can look back at it and you be like, holy crap, Like, look how far I've come. But you couldn't appreciate that and you couldn't look back on that if you hadn't taken the action in the first place. So one more story along these same lines. The very first sales funnel that my mom and I ever put together. It was a webinar sales funnel, a free webinar that led to our first signature course. And this past August, we released a brand new sales funnel to our brand new signature program called Laptop Lifestyle Academy. And without a doubt, LLA, this particular sales funnel, it's a highly valuable free training, so much value in it. And then at the end, for people that want more, we open up an opportunity for them to get LLA at a special price, okay? And without a doubt, it is the highest converting sales funnel that we have ever put together. So just go over the pieces of it for you. The capture page converts very, very well, meaning most of the people who land on that page opt in to see the free training. The free training attendance rate is very high, meaning most of the people who register actually attend. The stick rate, the number of people who attend and actually stay to the end, is extremely high. The conversion rate, the number of people who register and ultimately follow through and purchase the program, very, very high. In fact, 400% higher than that very first sales funnel that we created when we very first launched our brand and our coaching business. 400% better. But here's the caveat. With that very first sales funnel, something we got really, really good at was traffic. In fact, within 1 calendar year, we had 60,000 people go through that sales funnel. So it ended up being very profitable for us. Even though it wasn't a super high converting funnel, we had so many eyeballs on it that it ended up being very profitable for us. And I remember, even today, so dang proud of that, right? That was how we launched our business. That was how we hit $300,000 in sales in 10 months. So proud of that, because we didn't know what we were doing. We had this knowledge we knew we wanted to share, and we just started sharing it in the best way that we could figure out how at the time. But now in hindsight, right, I look back and I go, whoa, what if we had that traffic going to a funnel that converts as high as the one we have now? And I'm not gonna lie, I've ran the numbers so many times, it has made me cry a little bit. You look at the numbers, 400% better results. What if we ran that same funnel with 400% better results? That kind of hurts a little bit, right? But at the time, it's not like we thought we were putting out a bad funnel. It's not like we were trying to make a bad converting funnel. And again, the content, what we were selling was really, really powerful, but we didn't really know how to present it or how to share it or how to sell it, which is why it didn't convert well. But we didn't know that, right? We were doing the best we possibly could at the time with what we knew. So what am I saying? What's the point? What the point of this video is just to tell you, stop chasing perfectionism in your business. The only way to get perfect at something or even get close to perfect at something is to put it out there, because when you put it out there, what you're going to get, that you no amount of preparation will ever give you results. Now, sometimes you put something out there and you get bad results, but bad results are infinitely better than no results, because bad results tell you and show you where you can improve. When you get bad results, you're still getting data, and data is what will tell you what you can improve and what you can do better at. So I don't know if you've ever heard of the thought experiment called Schrodinger's cat. I'm a little embarrassed to say I actually learned about this on Big Bang Theory, but for whatever reason, my brain just latched onto it, and we use it all the time in business now. So the thought experiment essentially says that if you have a cat and you put it in a box, and then also you put something in the box that could possibly kill the cat. Okay, no one actually ever did this experiment, by the way. It wasn't actually, no cats were harmed in this. It was just literally a thought experiment. So you have this cat and you have something that might potentially kill the cat, and you put them in a box and you seal the box up. You will actually not know if the cat is alive or dead until you open the box. So essentially, until you open the box, the cat is both alive and dead, okay? So we use this example a lot in our business because we'll say, okay, let's say you have this really great idea for how you want to start posting on Instagram. It's a posting strategy. Maybe it's one you got from someone. Maybe it's one you came up with on your own. Maybe you looked at a bunch of different people and you kind of created your own out of what other successful people were doing. Whatever. You have this idea, this thought around what you're going to post on Instagram. Well, until you try it, it is both the best Instagram strategy you've ever thought of and the worst Instagram strategy you've ever thought of. You don't know until you test it, until you get data, right? So if you follow this posting strategy for 90 days and you get no new followers, probably not a good strategy, right? But you got to look at the data, okay? Are your posts simply not reaching enough people? Means you probably need to try a different type of post. Are your posts reaching people but they're not engaging people? Probably means you need to reach different kinds of people. Are people engaging but they're not visiting your profile or clicking on the link in your bio? That probably means you need a better CTA strategy. And if people are coming to your profile but they're not following you, then you need to upgrade your bio, right? But so often people will post and post and post and they'll say, well, I'm not getting any followers. So they'll go update their bio thinking that'll fix it, when in reality, only 2 people landed on their profile in the last 90 days because it was one of the other problems. Right? Do you see what I'm saying? Like when you put stuff out there and you get data, your data tells you what to improve. Because there's no point in improving your bio until you have people coming to your bio. And then if people are coming to your profile and they're reading your bio, but they're still not following you, then you've got a bio problem. But until they're actually there on your profile, you don't know if you have a bio problem or not, right? Maybe you have a content problem. Maybe you have a CTA problem. Maybe you have a targeting problem. You don't know until you get the data and you make tweaks as you go. All right? So you've got to get it out there. Like the whole point of this video, you've got to get it out there. You've got to stop letting perfectionism keep you from gathering data. Because only when you start gathering data are you able to start moving forward. Okay? All right, I'm gonna look at my notes because I knew I had like a couple more things I wanted to say, but I wanna make sure I don't miss it. Okay, yes, I have one last thing. So how do you get better, right? Like how do you get better? And I say you gotta put it out there and that's all well and good, but like how? How do you get better? The other day I had a friend compliment me on my video presence. And she was like, you're so good. You're a natural on camera. And I laughed. I laughed so hard because what she doesn't know is that the very first video I ever recorded was a 30-second testimonial, and it took me 3.5 hours to record. That's how terrible. That's how much not a natural I was on camera. But how did I get good on camera? I first allowed myself to really suck at it, and I kept doing it until I got decent at it. And then I allowed myself to be decent until I got good, and I allowed myself to be good until I got better. And I still wouldn't say that I'm a natural on camera, but I can be on camera and I don't break out in a cold sweat so much anymore. I don't have to put a sticky note over my face on my phone so that because used to, if you see yourself on your phone and you're talking like that used to totally freak me out. And I would I don't know, it just freaked me out. So I would take a sticky note and I would put it over my face on the camera screen so that I didn't have to look at myself while I talked, because it just totally freaked me out. I don't have to do that anymore, right? So there's there's progression. So how do you get better? You get better by doing, right? You get better by hitting publish on the post, by hitting send on the message, by releasing your funnel, by launching your business, right? By getting your thoughts and your ideas and your dreams and your value out into the world, and being okay if you suck at it, and knowing that if you suck at it and if the world doesn't respond the way you want the world to respond, that it is actually no reflection on you and your value and your potential. Okay, I'm going to say that again. It is putting yourself and your value and your dreams and your ideas out into the world, and knowing that no matter how the world responds, it is not a reflection on you or your value or your potential, right? I look back at like my first years in the horse show ring when I would practice and prepare for months and drive 6 hours and spend thousands of dollars and come away with no ribbons, right? That was not a reflection of my potential as a horse rider. It was simply a reflection of where I was right then in that moment. I didn't have the skill set and the experience and the mindset to win yet, right? And if I had quit, if I had let that stop me, or if I had tried to wait until I was ready, right? Because riding at a show is nothing like riding at home. I could ride really, really well at home. We'd go to a show, it would all go out the window because of nerves and anxiety and adrenaline and spectators and all the things, right? New environments. Like you can't practice your way to perfection. All right. So had I not gone to the show, I never would have gained the skill set and the mindset and the experience to win a USDF bronze medal, which I now have. But I never would have won that medal if I'd have waited until I was ready to compete for it. And the same thing goes for your business. You can't practice your way to perfection. You have to do it. You have to mess up, and you have to do it consistently enough, often enough that you get comfortable doing it, regardless of whether it's good or bad, and you have to be okay with the result. And then you take all of your data that these results give you and you say, okay, now where can I get better? You know, my mom and I had this experience on YouTube. At the beginning of 2021, we were like, we're going to get serious on YouTube. We're going to start posting there really consistently. And we looked up 6 months later and the data was terrible. Okay, we had been consistent, we had posted, we had done all the things, but the data was terrible. We weren't getting any new subscribers. Our videos weren't ranking. So we said, okay, where is the hole in our data, right? We needed to post more content. We needed to have better targeting. That was what we said. Our videos that are getting seen are getting good results, but they're just not getting seen enough. So we need more videos and we need to know how to get them seen. So we upgraded our knowledge, we invested in some help, and we put it out there in the world. And the next 90 days, it was a little better, but not much. But we could look at the data and we could see an upward trend. And we were like, okay, we're on the right track. We don't need to change anything, right? We made a couple of small tweaks, but it wasn't an overhaul like we had made 90 days earlier. It was a slight course correction, right? So we make this slight course correction, and 90 days later, we were getting over 200 new subscribers a month. We have multiple videos ranked #1 on highly competitive search terms. We just had one of our videos hit 10,000 views for the first time, right? And here it is a year later after we made that commitment. And I look back and I'm so grateful that we took action and we didn't allow the results of our first 9 months dictate our commitment to just keep going and getting better, right? So when you hear the cliche of plan, do, review, that's really all it is. You can plan, but then you got to do, and then you got to review. And then you make a new plan, and then you do it again, and then you review it again. And then you make a new plan, and you do it again, and you review it again. And you do it over and over and over and over and over until the data tells you that you're doing it right. But you'll never know if you don't get to the do part. So you can't practice your way to perfection. If you try, it will absolutely ruin your business. You'll stay stuck. Your confidence will stay low. Sometimes you think enough preparation will raise your confidence. It won't. The only thing I knew my script. That day I called Vanessa on the phone. I knew my script. It didn't matter. I still said her name wrong. I still swapped our names and said the script totally wrong because I was so nervous. It wasn't because I didn't know the script. It was because I didn't have experience, right? So you can't practice your way to perfection. And so you've got to keep putting it out there, putting it out there, putting it out there until you get good. And then one day you will get good and you'll look up and someone will come up to you and they'll say, oh my gosh, you're a natural at this. And you'll be like, huh, man, if they only knew, right? So do me a favor, if you got value from this video, give it a thumbs up and hit the share button, share it on social media. I think every entrepreneur needs to hear this message. I shared a lot of experiences with you today about times when I did follow the plan, do, review plan, but I could tell you 1,000 more where I didn't, where I sat on a funnel for 6 months longer than I should have because I was scared to hit publish, where I put off starting on a new social media platform for years because I didn't know what to do. And I, thought I could study my way to figuring it out before I started because I didn't want to start wrong. I can tell you so many stories about that, and I think everybody has those stories, and if they tell you they don't, they're probably lying. But I think everyone needs to hear that you can't practice your way to perfection, and that it's okay to be bad at something before you can be good. So if you got value, give it a thumbs up, hit share, leave me a comment with what resonated with you the most. And if you would like to dive deeper into some of the strategies and things that my mom and I share in our business and with our clients, I want to invite you to join us for our Repeatable Revenue Masterclass. So in this class, we break down the 5 phases to building a profitable social media presence. We talk about how to attract an audience, capture leads, nurture trust, convert sales, turn one-time buyers into lifetime buyers, all the things you need to really build a solid, profitable social media presence with a lot of automation, so you're not doing it all like just on your own. You've got like time freedom built into it, which is amazing. But one of the things specifically that we share in that training is the mistakes that people make, that we made and that we see our clients make within each one of those phases. Because, we all make mistakes, right? And so if you go watch that training and you see some of the mistakes we made, some of the ones that our clients make, then maybe it will help you avoid some of your own mistakes, right? I know I am so grateful for people that shared their mistakes so that I could learn from them, because I have plenty to make on my own. I don't need to make somebody else's, right? And I'm sure you feel the same way. So I will link that training in the description below. Definitely go check it out if you're looking to build a profitable social media presence. It is 100% for you. And thanks for hanging out with me today. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button before you go so you'll be notified the next time we release a video on this channel. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.